So, you know what it is about? It is about, first of all, understanding the difference between what is a negative thought and what is a positive thought, and then having the awareness to catch yourself, sometimes mid-sentence, and reword. Ask yourself this question silently. How can I say it better? Then reword what it was that you were going to say and say it in a different way. That's all. And when you do that, when you practice that, then slowly you develop different thinking habits. You start developing the use of a totally different vocabulary. Your vocabulary changes. Certain words just don't stay part of your vocabulary anymore. And that's wonderful. When that happens, that is so wonderful, because now you're off and running. Now you are more consistent in creating the right vibration. I know that you don't know this because it happens so easily for me now, but even when I'm talking to you, I will internally stop myself sometimes and reword things. I do it. I still do it. I'll tell you a little story. Last night, I was talking to somebody, and he has been wanting to buy a house. And I knew that he's got his application in the works with his financial institution to get an approval for a mortgage. So I asked him, did your approval come through? Have you started looking for a place? And he said, no, the approval hasn't come through yet, but I'm expecting it in the next couple of days. And then he said, now I'm telling you that this person I was talking to does not understand law of attraction, just a friend. I don't teach my friends. I'm just their friend. Okay. So he says, but I was talking to the lady who is processing my application for the mortgage, and she has told me that the market is slowing down and that houses are staying on the market for longer, and that there aren't as many multiple offers on properties as there were before a couple of weeks ago. And I know that not to be true, because that's my background. I'm a financial advisor. So even though I'm not practicing, I pay attention because it's just something that I know. My first inclination was to say to him, no, that's not right. House round the corner from me sold for 1.6 million within 7 days. Had 20 multiple offers on it, 20 offers. The offer that got accepted was, I believe, $300,000 over asking. That's what I wanted to say. That I know what's going on out there. But what did I do? I stopped. I breathed. And I told myself, what he's thinking is good for him. It serves him to think that the market has slowed down. And there is absolutely no need for me to convince him otherwise. There's absolutely no need for me to plant a negative belief in his mind by telling him what I know. Because maybe what I know is just local to where I live. Maybe what I know is just my perspective. Maybe what I know is based on my perspective of owning multiple properties and feeling elated that the value of my properties has increased so much. Maybe I shouldn't say anything to him. So what did I do? You know what I did? I stopped, I breathed, I said, Zara, you're not saying any of this to him because it's not going to help him. And you don't need to be right. You don't need to be right. So let it go. So what did I say to him? I said, sweetheart, you're probably right. I'm sure your mortgage person knows what she's talking about. Besides, I don't practice anymore. I'm not in the industry anymore. So what do I know? I don't pay attention anymore. That's what I told him. That's what came out of my mouth. And that happened why? Because I stopped and I asked myself, how can I say it better? What should I say to him that helps him? It's not about me. It's his mortgage. He's the one going to buy a house. I'm not selling one of my houses. I'm not in the market to buy one. So my opinion is not relevant to him. So I just smiled. Good thing we were on the phone. He couldn't see my facial expressions changing. And I said to him, you know what? She's probably right. I have no idea. I'm not keeping in touch anymore. So good luck with your search. I'm sure you'll find the perfect place for you. And I let it go. That is how you start shifting what you're saying to people. You pay attention to what you are saying and what is the reason for saying it. That's all. Just become more aware. Observe yourself. Observe how you are saying things. That's all. Now, I have to confess to you that this is after how many years now? I don't even know. Maybe 15 years of practicing. I'm at this place. But I can tell you, when I first became aware, it wasn't mid-sentence. It wasn't in the conversation. It was always after the conversation. The conversation was over. And then I felt dissatisfied with myself. And I analyzed why I was feeling dissatisfied. And I knew exactly what it was. It was because I had said something that would have been better left unsaid or said differently. And then I would tell myself, gonna do better next time. Going to do better next time. It's okay that I didn't this time. Besides, I don't need to protect other people. I don't need to protect other people. That's not the reason. So understand the reason properly, guys. The reason for shifting the way we are talking is not because we want to protect the other person. What we are protecting is our own alignment, not the other person, because I truly trust. So this is why I didn't feel bad for the other person. I felt bad for me, not for the other person. So if I have said something to the other person, for example, in this conversation that I had last night, if I had said to him, no, you are absolutely wrong. I know what's going on in the market and things are flying off the shelf. He would have argued, maybe, but regardless, I would have planted the seed of doubt in him. That does not serve him, but it's not my problem. I care, but not that much. He should have the ability to manage his own emotions. He should have the ability to not take what I'm saying seriously. He should have that ability. And if he doesn't have that ability, it's not my problem. I care, but not that much. You see? So it's not about what is happening to them. It's about what is happening to me. I feel bad because I did something that I would have preferred not to do, because when I push back, I am no longer high on the emotional scale. I have come down the emotional scale. When I say to someone, no, excuse me, you are wrong, it's not like that. What has happened is I have come down the emotional scale. It has nothing to do with them. And that's why you feel bad. And that's why you want to pick it apart And then you need to do the work for you to go up the emotional scale. Has nothing to do with the other person. So that's why we pick it apart even after the fact. Because why? Two reasons why. Number one, I want to soothe myself and tell myself, it's okay, Zara, at least what am I doing? I'm doing a 4-step process in my head. I'm saying to myself, Zara, at least you recognized it. And that means you're even that much closer to achieving mastery. So good for you. You don't need to do that. You need to do that, Zara. So you want to feel better and go back up and remind yourself that that person's responsible for their own emotional state. You are not responsible. And the second reason you do that is because you are working your way towards mastery. So those are the two reasons. One, to feel better. Number two, to achieve mastery. That is why you pull it apart and you become the observer. It's like you being the director of the movie and watching it play through the lens of the camera, and you also being part of the cast. You also being in front of the camera. You start being behind the camera and in front of the camera. And that's when you have the full picture. And that's how you learn. So what I mean to say to you by sharing this little story with you is that it is ongoing. And what I'm sharing with you is that even after so many years of practicing myself and teaching others to practice, there are still times when I have to catch myself. Because awareness, being present in the moment, that's what we want. And being present in the moment is something that we have to practice every day. It's not something that you practice once and then you give it up and you never go there again. No, you start every day with reminding yourself to be present. That is why we pre-pave, because our pre-paving tells us that that is what we must do. We must pay attention to what we are saying to people, places, and things. We must be good to ourselves and others, which means always returning to love. And if I keep saying to myself, he's wrong, he doesn't know what he's talking about, he doesn't understand these things. I'm a financial advisor. I understand way better. What am I doing? By judging him, by saying he is wrong, I am the one who is going down the emotional scale. And I don't want that, because I now know that when I go down the emotional scale, all subjects in my life gravitate to that vibration, even if it is for 2 seconds, even if it is for 5 minutes. Because what do I know about the creation process that I have learned from Abraham? That it takes 16 seconds. 16 seconds of focusing in one place activates the vibration of it. And if you spend 2 minutes in that space, then you've got momentum, hurtling forward, accelerated. So what happened when I did that course correction is that I ended that conversation feeling happy and satisfied. It contributed to my being able to say at the end of the day, before I put my head down on my pillow, Zara, you were awesome today. That was so good. What did that do? I stood taller. I shored up my self-worth. I went up the emotional scale. And now I'm telling a different story in my head. Every time I tell this story, it's no longer a story about someone being wrong. It is now a story about how wonderful and amazing I am. So my self-talk about it is completely different. Therefore, my energy about it is completely different. How wonderful is that? How good does that feel? And so, absolutely milk it when you feel good. And absolutely pay attention to what is coming out of your mouth, because it is so important. And sometimes you will analyze what you have already said and decide to say it differently next time. And sometimes you'll catch yourself mid-sentence and you'll stop and you'll say, gotta say it better.